Yo people, welcome back to another video. Now today was a quick theory. What if Fong, our new protagonist in the Karate Kid Legends film, ends up losing the final fight at the 5 Boroughs tournament? Now, as I stated in my trailer review video, link will be down below in the description, we see that this film will essentially be a copy and paste of the original Karate Kid film in terms of the generic plot, and obviously they'll try and change some parts to subvert expectations. Now, we see that we're going down the same route as Karate Kid in terms of we get the new kid in a new city moving in with his single mum. The kid will have a love interest and he will get bullied. He needs to learn karate, or in this case more fighting techniques, to defend himself, and everything will be resolved in the main event of the film, which is the tournament. What happens in between is what they will change to subvert expectations, and some things will just keep the same. Now within the trailer already we see the subversion of expectations and changes so that they can say that they changed the original and it's not a direct copy and paste. We see this with things like Lee's mum being against her son doing karate compared to Daniel and Miguel's mums not being against them joining karate to defend themselves. Another example is that instead of having a kid that doesn't know how to defend himself at all, Lee will be a kid that is adding different fighting styles to his kung fu style, but it's still the same idea of him being bullied and him having to train to defend himself and for the tournament in order to face the villain. Now this next example is what I think they'll do to subvert, and it involves the villain, which I think will be more of a solo act in this film. Of course, he'll still have his friends, but I don't think his friends will actually know how to fight. I don't think they'll be trained in any fighting styles. They'll just be there to intimidate and add to the numbers. Also, in terms of the villain, I think that he won't have a Kreese evil sensei influence guiding him. So, having said all of that, what if another subversion of expectations is having Lee lose the tournament to Conor, our main villain? If they do this, it would prolong our wait to see Lee win a tournament, which would keep our interest going and make Lee more relatable, because he'd have to work harder to get his next win, because he's a character that wouldn't have that main character guarantee win plot armor that a character like Daniel LaRusso has. He would also learn the basic ideas of you win some, you lose some, but it's okay to lose, which ties into Daniel LaRusso's character based off of Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 3. In that Part 3, Daniel realizes a Miyagi-Do teaching that karate isn't about winning or losing tournaments, it's about the life lessons, all of that stuff you already know. And as for Mr. Han, I don't think he'd care because he has a similar way of thinking to Daniel and Miyagi and all of them. Let's not forget, Daniel LaRusso states that he is a big Rocky fan, but in particular, he likes Rocky 1, which is the one where Rocky loses in the end, which could be a tie-in to Lee losing in this film, and it could also tie into what this franchise is trying to do in general, which is, just because the main character loses the fight in his first film, it doesn't mean that the franchise won't succeed or people won't care or whatever the stereotypes are with the main character losing at the end. However, they do have to be careful with how they make Lee lose the fight. I do believe that with Lee's character, they'll probably want to build him up as this new prodigy of karate, kung fu, of all these fighting styles that could reach the heights of Mr. Miyagi when he grows up. So in order to do that, the next films after this one will probably have to up the stakes and give us stories and plots that we've not seen before in the Karate Kid Cobra Kai world. I do believe that if all goes well financially for Sony, they will probably do a trilogy minimum. And I do think that they will use this film to start connecting Miyagi to Kung Fu. They'll probably say that Mr. Miyagi knew Kung Fu at some point, tie him in with karate obviously, maybe with boxing because we saw some hints in Cobra Kai Season 6. All in all, to say that Miyagi was a master of learning all these different fighting techniques, and that's why he was so strong in the Karate Kid films. And I think they will try and use this build and tie that into our new character Lee, and like I said, build him up to these new heights that we haven't seen before in terms of strength and fighting abilities. Personally, I'm kind of tired of all these characters just being in high school and the usual teen drama. I think it would be interesting if by the end of Karate Kid Legends, we also see Lee, Conor, Mia together as a dynamic heading into the next movie. And this would actually fit their whole subvert expectations thing that we're trying to do, because we haven't seen a trio of main characters. I think the closest we saw was like Johnny, Miguel, Hawk, or Daniel, Sam and Robby and Miyagi-Do, but we've not actually had this dynamic before in this franchise. It was either a whole bunch of friends like in Cobra Kai, or just a Daniel and Mr. Miyagi dynamic. But yeah, what do you think will happen in this film? Will it be the predictable hero wins the tournament happy ending? Will he win but at a controversial cost or at a twist that we haven't seen before? Or do you think that he'll lose? As always, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'd appreciate if you could like the video and sub to the channel. Thank you for your time.